And hello, my fellow nerds out there. It's Oracle Nerd Richie, and welcome back to Dark Knights. Now, when we last left off, this guy right here, Roya, he kind of broke into our house. So we need to choose on what to do. And I'm not really sure if he's gonna do anything to us. I kind of forgot to put up a poll to asking you guys what we should do. But I think the right move is to politely ask him to let go. Because he's seeming a bit forceful at the moment. So maybe just asking him politely rather than kicking him outright will actually work. I mean, sure, I probably would kick the person in the situation too, but just be the pacifist for now. Like politely ask him to let go. It should work, right? With a straight face, I politely ask Roya to let go of me. Has spending so much time around Juju made you this more obedient? Are you only here to mess with me? He seems amused at my annoyance. You're too fun. I should really save you for last. So you came to eat me, huh? The man grins mischievously as he rubs his chin. Maybe. I am curious about how you taste. I step back in surprise, mentally preparing myself for the worst. You take me way too seriously, you know. We can play around some other time. I came here for something boring but important. His gaze turns serious as his smile disappears. I only want to confirm something. You haven't told anyone about the incident from earlier this week, have you? You mean what happened in the storage room? I kept it to myself. Well, I don't think you're lying. You honestly believe I'm the one behind the village's murders, don't you? Junoro has an alibi, but I don't have any reason not to believe you're the culprit. Besides, even your brother thinks you did it. I'm hurt, Miyoko. And you're trying to pit my own cute little brother against me? Shame on you. There are no, there are more things happening in this village than you know. Haven't you noticed that the population of the living dead has been going up like crazy? You mean those zombie-like people, I guess? It's true that I'm responsible for creating them, but lately they've been going out of control and attacking villagers. Of course, if any victim survives the attacks, they can easily turn into the living dead themselves as well. Which means they can multiply rapidly. My brother and I have a different form of virus, so we aren't contagious like the others. We are artificially made, you see. My eyes widen in shock. Anyway, the missing people are all long dead. My point is, you need to help us. You don't need to help us. Keep yourself locked up in here, and nothing bad will happen to you. Promise. What about all the living dead around town? They're dangerous. You'll only get in the way if you try to help. The next time I'm hungry, I might take care of them myself. Maybe. All alone? You're getting ahead of yourself. You're underestimating me. Well, I'm off. Don't tell my brother what I said, or else he might end up hurting himself. Wouldn't want that, would ya? Does Gennaro know that the living dead are multiplying themselves? Does it matter? Anyway, if anyone finds out about this, make sure you put all the blame on me. Leave my brother out of this. I softly agreed to the request with a nod, despite fundamentally disagreeing with Roya. Think of this as making us even. I didn't forget that you helped me when I was injured, Miyoko. Oh yeah, we did help him in episode 1, didn't we? Roya smirks before leaving me alone in the hallway. My impression of Roya has changed again. I have mixed feelings about all this. Gennaro has a right to know what's going on, doesn't he? Once I am sure I am alone, and have double-checked all the locks, I return to bed. The next day, I walk down the street, steadily approaching Genoru's home. Should I really tell him about last night? It might worry him even more, though. I suddenly notice someone standing under a street lamp. With the light casting a shadow over their face, I cannot recognize the figure. I warily step closer, only to be unpleasantly surprised. Chain? The man's cold blue eyes shift towards me as his beating audibly slows. You shouldn't be outside at this time of day. The living dead are already out. What? Already? Chain walks off without another word. Seeing his broad back, I am reminded of the moment that he attacked Genoru. I won't ever forgive him for trying to harm Genoru and Roya. Unable to contain my anger, I sprint after Chain and raise my fist. Before my punch can connect, the man flips around and grabs my wrist. Even though I was in his blind spot, his reflexes were amazing enough to still kick in. What are you doing? Oh! Chain shoves me away, glaring at me with a clear killing intent. Don't act all innocent. You're trying to kill my friends. You don't even know what you're accusing me of. Do you even know what you're accusing me of? You're a real weird one. Pot, meat, kettle. I'm weird. You dress to intimidate, break into houses to assault people at first sight, and who in their right mind wears a gas mask in public? Chain turns silent as he considers my thoughts. Once satisfied, he crosses his arms. First of all, I don't assault anyone at first sight. I carefully follow them before taking action. I'm not one of those mindless living dead. Secondly, I don't break into houses for fun. Achievement, the smell of death. Oh. As for the mask, I'm just sick of the smell of death. Anyway, why does that even matter? Because it makes you look suspicious as hell, duh. Chain puts his hand behind his head and begins to remove his mask, sighing as he does so. My eyes widen in surprise that is his appearance. Do I still look intimidating? The man awaits my response, but I remain speechless. He snorts before putting his mask back on. If that's all you wanted to know, I have a job to finish. You should be grateful to me for exterminating those monsters. I clench my fist and glare at the man until he disappears. A short while later, I arrive at the Kenriji mansion. As I move to the side of the house, I notice a large hole in the wall. Did one of the brothers break the wall too? Well, it was pretty easy the first time. I giggle at the thought. I head into the passage and arrive in the main room. Ju, are you here? Nobody replies, but the mansion is large enough that he may not have heard me. I take a seat on the couch and wait patiently. Genoru did warn me not to explore. Minutes later, I still do not hear any sounds. Should I look for him? I could be sitting here for hours if I don't. In the end, curiosity wins me over. The hallway is dark, so I search for the light switch. It thankfully does not take long to find. Farther down the hall, I find fresh droplets of blood on the ground. Could these be from Roya's victims? I wonder if I'm on the right track. Ju, are you here? The bloody trail leads me to a closed door. I brace myself for the worst as I open it. Just one peek, I can run away anytime. The steam filling my vision quickly reminds me that this is the washroom. Worse yet, the bathtub appears to be occupied by a masculine figure. Oh no. Roya? A familiar chuckle answers me, raising goosebumps on my skin. I avert my gaze, only to discover his blood-stained clothes hanging nearby. I wasn't expecting guests. Did you step in to join me, Miss Cutie? No! I'm sorry, I didn't see anything. I rushed into the hallway and closed the door behind me. I saw nothing. Nothing! The more I think about it, the more my cheeks heat up. I do my best to push the thought out of my mind. Well, I don't want to walk in on Jude, too. I should probably head back downstairs. By the time I settle onto the couch, Royo comes down the stairs. His hair's still damp. Looking for Juju, are you? I'm sorry to say, but he'll be out for a while. Oh, I'll come back later then. Wait, it'd be rude of me to send you off after you came all the way here. The blonde sits on the couch facing opposite of me. Although I instantly feel uncomfortable, I do not want to miss the opportunity to learn more about him. Would you like a cup of tea? No thanks. Suit yourself. So, you have a crush on my brother, huh? Huh? Why would you say that? He's always been unpopular. You know, I'm glad he's finally getting some attention. What? Really? But he's so kind. I can't think of a reason people would dislike him. Well, he lacks confidence, which is probably my fault. I used to be the Kenriji heir, but it turns out my parents weren't big fans of my attitude, so they gave the position to Juju instead. He didn't feel ready for it, I guess. He seems like the older brother sometimes, doesn't he? On the other hand, he doesn't speak as highly of you. You caused a lot of trouble for him. Aw, did he say that? Even if he doesn't want to admit it, I know he loves me. You care about him too, don't you? You should try not to inconvenience him so much. Rhea chuckles before nodding, although it almost seems sarcastic. By the way, you know about a little stalker, right? That Chain guy? He was standing in front of the mansion earlier. Chain, huh? Rhea stiffens up upon hearing the name. He rubs his chin and sighs. He seems quite interesting, but my brother doesn't want me killing anyone unrelated. The blonde stops before finishing the sentence and snorts. We're really on the same side, but there he goes, nearly killing Jinoru instead of getting rid of those annoying zombies. Chain's an extremist. Apparently, even the most obvious distinctions doesn't matter to him. No use in trying to convince him otherwise. You see, the Kenrijis are the root of all this, and he knows that. Which is why he wants to kill Juju and me first. Well, what do you mean? It's a long story. If I live long enough to see you again, I'll consider telling you then. I'll wait for Jinoru until it grows late, but he never appears. I am forced to give up for the day. I end up staying home the next few days, feeling inexplicably exhausted. Every night I hear a single gunshot in my neighborhood. Articles in today's newspaper reveal steadily worse details about the disappearance victims, such as their corpses suddenly appearing in the streets, having been decomposing for days. The bodies seem unrelated to the gunshots, but my gut tells me what the police found were the living dead. With Chain making his presence so prominent, I cannot help but worry for the Kenriji brothers. Maybe I should pay them a visit today. The sky grows dark and cloudy along the way to the mansion. I am glad I remembered to bring my umbrella. As I travel, I realize someone is standing in a small alleyway. I take a quick glance at them. Jinoru is collapsed against the wall. I kneel in front of him and cup his cheeks in my hands. Ju? Are you alright? What happened here? My friend does not respond, his eyes remaining closed. Though the cuts on his clothing, I realize his right arm is missing entirely, blood slowly dripping out of the wound. The ground around him is painted red, although the rain threatens to wash it away. Finally, I noticed Jinoru has a deep gash in his neck. I instantly remembered when he once told me that the living dead they will die if they're decapitated. In panic, I desperately call out his name. Jinoru, you're still alive, right? Say something. Just when I'm about to give up, the man's eyes slowly open. I nearly fall over in relief. Oh my, you almost gave me a heart attack. After taking a moment to observe his surroundings, a pained moan escapes Jinoru's lips as he tries to stand up. I hurriedly lift the umbrella over him. Miss Miyoko? I apologize for following you to witness me, for allowing you to witness me in such a state. I must have passed out at some point. What happened to you? I was attacked by Chain. Ugh. I'm only thankful he was unable to fully sever my head, but I truly believed that I would die today. Even I fell for your fake death. I press my lips while I look over Jinoru's body. His wounds seem so deep. No normal person could survive them. I'll help you clean up. Thank you for your concern, but I assure you I am fine. You're starting to sound like Roya. Let me help you, alright? Decided to call for help myself. Oh god, I have no clue what to do. Okay, I feel like this is gonna be a pivotal moment, so... let's help him by ourselves. I will treat you. We're close to your home. Do you have a first aid kit there? Yes. That is an excellent idea. Jinoru turns back to the alleyway and grimaces as he leads down to pick up his dismembered arm. His movements are so stiff that I cannot help but reach down and pick up his arm for him. Miss Miyoko, I normally keep it in a place with a belt, but... I am so sorry for making you deal with this. I place his arm back on the right spot and wrap his belt around it to tighten up. Jinoru turns his face away while I patch him up, probably feeling embarrassed. We shouldn't stay in the rain for too long. Let's head to your mansion. I wrap an arm around Jinoru and let him lean against me as we walk. It seems like a miracle he can still move, given how much worse his injuries are compared to Roya's back at the school. I leave Jinoru on the couch and proceed to search for a first aid kit. The farther down the hall I walk, the more bloody the floor becomes. I begin to suspect I'm heading straight into Roya's territory. I turn around and head back. All these doors look the same. How did Ju and Roya not get lost all the time? Putting labels above them would make it so much easier. I open a random door and peer into the room. The walls and floors are stained with a dark liquid, and the furniture has been smashed to bits. Judging by the mess, some sort of battle must have taken place here. I understand why Jinoru warned me not to walk out on my own. Perhaps I should try looking elsewhere. Sorry for taking so long, Ju. Hold on a bit longer. Do not worry. I should be the one apologizing for making you search through my house. The first aid kit should be in the kitchen. Please wait a moment while I... Ju, you can barely move. I'll get it for you. But Miss Miyoko... I walk towards the kitchen and fumble around in the darkness until I step on something. What is this? I step back, somehow managing to locate a light switch. The room is stained dark red, as if a paint bomb exploded in here at some point. I start to tremble, but I manage to calm myself down quickly enough. I search through the cabinets until I find a small white box containing bandages. I hurry back to Jinoru with it in hand, trying to ignore the bloody scene around me. Here we go. I'll try to be quick. I forgot to warn you, but if you saw anything strange in the kitchen, it was from Roya attempting to cook a normal meal. He told me he wanted to experiment with food, No one was harmed, although I cannot say the same about the poor blender he used. Jeez, I thought someone had been slaughtered. How could a person be so bad at cooking he practically made the kitchen explode? He has never been much of a cook. Even so, it was it was heartening to see him take your advice and attempt other ways to satisfy his hunger. To be honest, it can be a dangerous enterprise, as he is unable to metabolize normal food, and the contents will be instead rot inside of him. A large a large enough portion could be fatal. Oh wow! I'm sorry I even suggested it. I didn't realize it was so serious. Gennaro shakes his head and smiles softly at me. Oh? Okay, can I just say I really love these CGs that appear every now and then? Like it's just such a nice detail for these kinds of stories. Like it's what makes me so enveloped in a story that I just love it a lot. Like it gets you more involved in stuff. I kneel beside him and unbuttoned his shirt, his eyes following my every movement. There's so many scars and stitches. He looks so fragile. I'm starting to worry it'll only make things worse somehow. You never cease to amaze me, Miss Miyoko. Does nothing faze you? Seeing you hurt does. I'm glad I found you. If I were only as strong and self-assured as Roya, but hypotheticals are meaningless. Gennaro slides down his glove, revealing his scarred hand. It is a pity to see such fair skin blemished all over. I grab his hand and hold it in both of mine. He glances at me, surprised. You should have more confidence. Even if the rest of the world rejects you, you should at least accept yourself. Miss Miyoko. He gently squeezes my hand while his longing stare captures me. My heartbeat slowly speeds up. I feel his thumb softly brushing across my fingers. Slowly I lean in. Time seems to freeze as I hover over him. Suddenly, he takes back his hand and breaks his stare. The abrupt change makes me feel embarrassed. I pull back and regain my composure. I feel better now. Thank you for your assistance. Of course. It was the least I could do. May I request we stay like this for a while longer? His voice is pleasant, yet tainted with the touch of sadness. I continue to patch him up while we resume our conversation. To my delay, my friend is truly beginning to open up, sharing his worries with me. Shinoru has been suffering more than I ever realized. I only hope I can support him better in the future. Eventually, our discussion shifts to Roya. It has apparently been a full day since he returned home. Why are you so worried about your brother? He seems like someone who can handle himself. Well, it is a long story. Come on, tell me anyway. Roya may seem invulnerable, but he fears death as the same as anyone else. Everything has a beginning and an end. He believes his time is coming soon, especially with the recent investigations. He has become very careless, which is also part of the reason I asked you to refrain from telling anyone the truth. Again, I apologize for involving you in our mess. That reminds me, I've been seeing Chain around a lot lately. It's too bad we can't work together to take care of the living dead. It cannot be helped. Gennaro drifts in and out of consciousness as he lays on the couch. I take the opportunity to wash as much blood off my hands and clothes as I can, then spend the rest of the day keeping him company. Miss Miyoko, will you be able to visit again tomorrow? As much as I'd like to, I think it'd be better for you to rest for a few days. Even though you're special, you still shouldn't push your body too much. He snorts before giving in to my request. Next day. The holidays feel excruciatingly long when there is nothing going on. Even the majority of the stores have closed down, since so many people have gone on vacations. Most students are helping out their parents' businesses. The remaining open stores become busier than usual. I have to admit I feel lonely without the company of my classmates. I sit on a bench and glance around the park. Other, other than the silver-haired boy, there is no one else around. I pull a small novel out of my jacket, Bright Days, and a, se- a sequel to Dark Days. Oh, they really are obsessed with like bright and dark and all that, aren't they? But then again, the game is called Dark Knights, so I shouldn't be surprised. The original story caught my interest, so I am eager to read the sequel. Even though this title is not as popular as the first, it seems to be written for the series fans. Rather than be Rather than being a new story, it retells Dark Days from the perspective of another character. Ooh, oh, okay. So I actually kind of like stories like this. Like you go through a story normally, and then you go through like a sequel story, but it's not actually a sequel. It's just the same story, but from a different perspective. The only game I can think of that does that is probably the boss, which is the Jacksepticeye fan game. That was created by Sarcastic Pasta Games. I'm pretty sure Jack played it on his channel. He and there was a sequel game called The Boss Is Nothing, but that one wasn't really a sequel game. It was more so a different perspective of the same game from before. I'm pretty sure there are other games that do this kind of thing too. I'm trying to think of what it was. There's like this one game that I remember. You play. Oh, Outlast. Right. So like Outlast. You guys remember that horror game Outlast? Outlast. You play as the a reporter named Miles Upshur, but then the DLC you're playing the same game, but it's from a different perspective. And like towards the ending of that, you get to see that kind of thing. I love that kind of thing in games. You get to go through a different perspective of the same story. Rather than, anyways, while I'm lost in a tale, I hear someone dash across the park. When I look up, I notice Chain chasing Sachiro, a boy I met earlier. The man roughly grabs the boy by his scarf and pushes him to the ground. After handcuffing the boy, Chain pulls him up and begins leading him away. I cannot even begin to imagine what sort of crime a child like him has committed. Even though I remember him, I decided to stay put. I wonder if he'll be okay. The bizarre arrest is so distracting I do not notice when someone approaches me. The hand comes out of nowhere, casually resting on my shoulder, and I jump at the sensation. What a coincidence bumping into you here, Miss Cutie. Roya, what brings you here? I was hit. I was hit. I thought I'd get some fresh air. Well, the weather was nice. You're lucky you just missed Chain. Is it really a good idea to be outside right now? Sure it is. Roya glances around the park, and after confirming there is no one around, he takes a seat beside me. Although I do not mind his company, I always feel awkward around him. I want to leave, but that would be rude. I suppose Jinoru's manners have rubbed off on me. You saw what happened earlier, right? What do you mean? That boy was taken care of by Chain. I thought he was looking for me. Do you happen to know why that boy was arrested? No, but the fact he was with the gas mask now means the kid's in trouble. Anyway, that stalker seems to know too much about Juju and me. I'm starting to wonder if someone isn't leaking information about us. Roya smirks at me, with his eyes narrowed, but I swiftly shake my head. Oh, come on, Miss Cutie. I didn't think it was you. Chain's been after us since way before we met. Besides, my cute little bro is too much of a worrywart to risk worrying you by telling you everything. I know what the bastard is up to, and the last thing I'm going to do is let him get his grubby hands on me. Roy lets out a sigh and glances up at the bright sky. The book you're reading, Bright Days, is good. Characters that barely had a few lines in the first book actually got to speak their minds. Well, I probably shouldn't spoil it for you. Let me know when you're finished reading it. I didn't expect Roya to be much of a reader, but it's nice that we have something in common. Hearing him talk casually makes him seem like a different person. I want to chat a bit longer, but he suddenly stands up and stretches his arms, yawning. I'm starting to feel a bit tired. Staying outside for too long always does a number on me. Speaking of which, don't I usually see you at night? Well, that's the easiest time to catch the living dead. We're we're prettiest under we're prettiest under the moonlight, don't you think? Chain may be crazy, but you can't. But can't you work with the police? They want to put an end to this too. Isn't it obvious? With stained hands like mine, how could I ever ask the authorities for help? There must be someone willing to help. I don't know how many of those living dead are out there, but you can't do it all alone. Whatever you say, Miss Cutie. Ray waves his hand before walking off. I paid Jinoru a visit the next day, hoping his recovery has come along well. I had considered bringing him food, but ended up taking a few packs of tea leaves just to be safe. On my way to the mansion, I happened to bump into Jinoru himself. To my surprise, he has his shopping bags in both of his hands. Jinoru, shouldn't you be resting? Miss Miyoko, what a pleasure it is to see you. I have taken care of the rest to recuperate. I've taken care to rest and recuperate before going out and about, so you need not worry. I glanced at the contents of the bags. It seems he bought sweets and other treats. He told me some time ago that it is torture to consume regular food. I cannot imagine what he has gone through the past few days. General glances at the tea in my hands and smiles softly. Did you bring those for me? As always, you are too kind. Shall we head to the mansion so we can prepare you a cup? Gladly. Would you mind if I invited my brother to our little soiree? He also quite enjoys tea. Go ahead, the more the merrier. Jinoru leads me over the sofa, ensuring that I am comfortable before he heads upstairs. I wonder if the brothers' bond had started to repair itself. Jinoru no longer seems as gloomy as when he mentions Roya. A few minutes pass, but Jinoru still has not returned. What's taking him so long? Should I check on him? Jinoru, is everything alright? My shout goes unanswered, and I cannot resist the urge to search upstairs. I glance into the hallway and notice one door is open a crack. I decided to peek into the room. Oh my. I see Jinoru kneeling down, staring at Roya's body in silence. My stomach lurches as I gaze at the blonde, who is in even worse condition than Jinoru was back in the alleyway. Jinoru, what happened? I step closer to properly examine the situation and see a deep cut on Roya's neck. Horrified, I turn away to take a step backwards. I just spoke with him yesterday. Why had this happened? And he was starting to come to understanding. And we were starting to come to an understanding. Jinoru clenches his fist as tears stream down his cheeks. I reach out to offer a comfort I can, not knowing what I could possibly say. He slowly rises to his feet and turns away from Roya's mutilated corpse. He struggles to find something to say, lost in his sadness. When it seems like he is about to break down, he pulls me to a tight hug, his chin resting on my shoulder. His breathing is ragged. The depth of his sorrow is trapped below the surface, trying to force its way through. For what feels like the first time, Gennoro's air of calmness is breaking down in front of me. Tears well up in my eyes, blurring my vision. I did not expect Jane to kill him. The elder brother I grew up with always seemed so strong, and You shouldn't take revenge. Honestly, taking revenge is always a dish best served cold. So I don't think taking revenge will be a good idea here. but maybe we could probably go on the other path as well, just to see what happens. So, anyways, I'm gonna leave this episode here for now, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, comment what you think, share this with your friends, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.
You say you wanna try, but you never do.